Hey, hi, hello, my name is Tate, and I can't really say welcome back because this is my first video. That's weird to say. I know that a lot of people like to do newbie tags for their first one, or like an about me, or something like that, but I'm not cool like that, so I'm just gonna just go right in. I don't know what this means. Just dive right in. I hate myself. Okay, I just figured I would start off my channel with a wrap up because why not? It's like beginning of February, January just ended. I read a weird number of books in January. I figured I'd just start this up with a wrap up. That's gonna be the title. That's genius. In January, I read 8 books, which is a lot. Some people might not see that as a lot, but like last year, I read an average of like a book or 2 a month, and I just read 8 books in a month, so yeah. The first book I read is called No Man's Land by David Baldacci. I listened to this book on audio while I was driving back to Colorado to visit some family with my dad so that he could stay awake for the long drive. It's a pretty basic Baldacci adult mystery thriller. If you've read any of Baldacci's books, this one specifically follows this special agent, John Puller, whose mom went missing like 30 years ago, and now suddenly his dad is a suspect, and so he's trying to unravel that. And at the same time, you're following this like mysterious man named like Paul Rogers or something. He sounds like he should be from the 18th century. We follow him as well on this like mysterious vengeance quest. I gave it, I think, a 2.5 stars. Goodreads might say 3, but it's probably more of a 2. It's like somewhat interesting. Some of the stuff I was intrigued by, but it's just really, really long, and a lot of it's kind of contrived, and it just takes itself so seriously. Plus it falls into all of that fun stuff of adult mystery where they just over-sexualize the hell out of women and they're harming women all the time for really like no reason, and it just didn't like it. I don't know why Baldacci books are always like this big and still have like nothing happen, but so was it the worst thing I could have read for a drive home? No. Was the only reason I read it because my dad needed to be entertained for 8 hours? Yes. The second book I read this month was P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. This is the second book in the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, which, if you live under a rock, this series follows our main character, Laura Jean. Laura Jean, throughout like her younger years, like her middle school into high school years, would write letters to boys whenever she got a really bad crush on them, and then she would like address them and stamp them, but never send them. She just kept them in this little hat box. Then one day, they all get sent out to the boys, and she has to deal with that. This obviously is the second book in the series, and it follows right where the last one picks up. Obviously, I can't tell you where that is, because spoilers. Just like the first book, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely adore Laura Jean and all of the characters. I love Jenny Han's writing style. It feels like a genuine human talking. It doesn't seem like a 30-year-old writing for a teenager. Interactions are genuine. The like misunderstandings and conversations feel like real things and not like stupid contrived misunderstandings. And and this one also had a lot more angst than the first one, which like half of me hated it, but also pain. It is my life source, so I guess I asked for it. The next book I read, or I guess kind of 3 books I read, was a novella trilogy called Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I hope I'm saying that right. So the first book is Binti, then Home, then The Night Masquerade. This sci-fi novella trilogy follows this girl named Binti, who is part of the Himba tribe. She is the first of her people to be accepted into this like super prestigious university called Umza University, which is on another planet. So she runs away to go to this university, but on the way, their ship gets attacked by like aliens. That makes it sound like, ooh, aliens, but like this is sci-fi. Other creatures and other planets exist. They get attacked by this like warring group of aliens, and she has to try to survive to make it to the university. I gave this trilogy, like each of the books, 3 stars. I really did enjoy them. I listened to them all on audiobook, and since they're all novellas, I got through them really quickly. The concept is super cool, and I really liked Binti, and I loved the writing style, but I feel like they shouldn't have been novellas. Instead of just being like a quick, impactful story, it felt like we got lost on the character development and on the plot development, and it just felt like an idea that didn't get fleshed out. And so even though I really enjoyed all of them, I just wish there would have been more. It made the plot pacing very odd. In the third book specifically, which is the longest of the three, it's like 200 pages or something, somehow the first like half really dragged, even though the end of the second book is like a cliffhanger, so you'd expect the third one to like, I don't know what this means, and like you'd expect the third one to just kick off running and just have a really fast pace, but instead the first half like drags along forever. I still really enjoyed it. Like, it was a fun read and they were really fast. So like if you're looking for like some sci-fi that's kind of like different, has some better rep. Oh yes, that's important to note. The main character is a Black woman, which is awesome. Within the trilogy, they're good about like recognizing that there are like more than two genders, and they have some trans people in there, and they recognize like female-female relationships and like queer people. I appreciated that, even though it wasn't like a huge part of the story. I really appreciated that they were like, yo, by the way, queer people exist. The binary is fake, thank you. But yes, 3 stars, recommend, but don't have like super high hopes that you were gonna be changed for life, in my opinion. Oh yes, this is next. The next book I read was Secrets for the Mad by Dodie Clark. Who's right there, that's her. Hello, Dodie. This book is kind of a memoir of sorts. It's a bunch of like writings and thoughts and drawings and things from Dodie Clark, who, if you don't know, is a YouTuber and a musician. She's on YouTube as Doddle Oddle. Her stage name is Dodie. She's so wonderful, such a good human being. Like, just go look her up. She's so talented. She's bi. She's super supportive of the queer community and super like inclusive and unproblematic, and is like really honest and doesn't try to prop herself up. She deals with mental health and she's really open about that and supporting. Like, I just go look her up. I swear to God, I love her. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Brody is honestly a really good writer in expressing like her feelings and in telling her short little stories. I don't know why I didn't pull it up before. This is the only book I read that I have a physical copy of, so I forgot that like I can pull this up. It's really well organized. She has like everything like in sections with these beautiful little drawings. Look at this, like they're just so beautiful. And she'll have like little collections of pictures, and I just can't express to you how much I love this. It has such like deep and emotional topics. Like, she addresses grief and mental health and sexuality and like fame and so many other things, and it's just like all really handled well. She's very honest and raw. She doesn't try to pretend she's someone she's not. It just feels like a conversation with Dodie, and I really love it. If you know Dodie, you will love this. It's just I love it. Stream Human by Dodie. The next book I read was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This has gotten a lot of love lately on BookTube, so you probably know what it's about, but just in case you don't, this book follows our main character Stevie, who gets accepted into this strange, interesting boarding school because of her love of true crime and her kind of passion for it, because they only accept people based on like, hey, you are really good at like building things and mechanics. You have a really deep passion for it. So we're gonna take you in and build your learning around that. So they brought Stevie in based on her obsession with true crime. And Stevie, when she comes to this boarding school, is wanting to solve this cold case from like way back in the 1930s, where when the school first opened, there was a murder and a kidnapping, and it's never been solved. And the only like evidence they have of it is this letter signed Truly Devious, which is the title of the book. And so she's wanting to try to like crack this cold case that no one's been able to figure out for like 70, 80 years. But But during this, she also has to deal with adjusting to the school and like figuring out mysteries of the school as it is. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Stevie's character was really interesting. All the characters felt very fleshed out. They were very realistic. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed that we went back and forth a bit between the present day and then jumping back to the original cold case, seeing like scenes of it and trying to like piece it together. I think why I didn't get 5 stars, I'm honestly not sure. Like, I didn't find a lot wrong with this book. I just feel like it didn't have like that magical essence of a 5-star book. It might have been, I don't know, maybe like the pacing. I feel like when I went into this, I thought it was going to be very much focused on Stevie trying to find truly Devious, like the specific person or like the new person. But it wasn't quite as much about that. I think that I was just kept waiting for us to like find truly Devious. And when we didn't, I was like, but honestly, it's really good. The second book, The Vanishing Stairs Out, I've heard wonderful things about it. I want to try to read it soon. So if you're into like a YA mystery that's like actually really interesting and like keeps you on your toes and has lots of good rep, very good rep in this book. It's got some like female rep. It deals with anxiety and like mental health really well and like showing us someone having an anxiety attack and them getting help, and it was just really well done. So, highly recommend. Go read it. Read the second book. I'm going to soon, hopefully. Don't hold me to that. Okay, the last book that I read this month was Sock Hill Girls by Claire Legrand. This book takes place on Sock Hill Rock, which is just kind of this little island. It's just this little town. And over the last few decades, they've seen a lot of girls go missing and never be found. And there's an urban legend that it's this creature called the Collector who's luring in these girls and then eating them. This story follows 3 girls. The first one is Marion, who has just recently moved here to be with her dad. The second is Zoe, whose best friend recently went missing, and she believes that it is the Collector who took her best friend. And then we have Val, who's this rich, untouchable girl who has a lot of like family secrets that she is dealing with. And that, yes, I don't want to spoil. Val just has a lot of kind of family secrets, a lot of lies that she is being forced to tell. We'll leave it at that. This is just about those 3 girls, kind of their stories connecting and them facing the secret of this monster and how to stop it and how to not let people die. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing style. It's a really like unique and cool concept. I loved the rep in it. We have a Black main character who's also asexual. And it's on page rep, and she gets to like address acephobia and like someone who says something acephobic. It doesn't just get pushed aside. It's like, hey, we have to address this. This is bad. And it just made me, oh, my little ace heart was so happy. Like, there's so little ace rep, and I just loved it being involved like that. Oh, it's a really interesting mystery. You kind of see stuff evolve. At the end, like, with all like the girl power in it, I felt so empowered in it, but I also felt like disturbed and a little bit like I'm never going near any man ever again. It just looked a lot at the kind of stereotypes and expectations that girls naturally want to fight each other, or like there's this one quote in the book, I wish I could remember it. I think it was like that all girls hunger and there's not enough food for all of us. I don't know. It was just a really cool quote about how like society tries to like pit girls against each other when they should be like empowering each other and lifting each other up. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It's creepy as hell. So if you're like not into creepy stuff, I wouldn't recommend, but it's really good. I think the only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars is just there was like sometimes the pacing went a little too fast and a little too slow. But honestly, highly recommend. Like, just look at that cover. So beautiful. Really good rep. Really well written. I love it. Well, that is it for all the books that I have read in January of 2019. Don't really expect me to read that many again in a month. I swear I never read this much in a month. And then suddenly in January, I just shot like a rocket and read so much. And like, part of that, of course, is because 3 of the books were short novellas, but like, still 8 books in a month. And I was in school for half of it, like almost all of it. I started school on like the 8th. So the majority of this month, I have been in school, and yet I still managed to read 8 books. thank you for watching. If anyone even sees this, if you liked it, you can always click that little like button below, boost my little heart. Feel free to subscribe. I plan on posting weekly. Next week, I plan on doing like a Valentine's thing, maybe like shipping books. I don't know. It's gonna be a fun Valentine's special, so if you want to see that, click subscribe. Comment if you've read any of these books, if you hated them, if you liked them, what books have you read recently. Bash on me if you want. Make fun of the fact that I have no eyebrows. And if you want to follow any of my social media, I'll also leave that in the description. I want to make a bye joke, like bye. Get it? But I shouldn't. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye. I literally only read one book in like print form, but I want to have a cute thing, so these are just a bunch of random books that comes out to the number I read. And we also have to hide that these are all books off the shelf. I think that's enough. Is this how people do this?